This week in the zone, we're in Wyoming. We're in the shadow of the bighorns. We'll be spotting and stalking open country deer with Crandall Creek Outfitters. See him? Yes, sir. All right, he's moving. As soon as he stops.
I mean, look at that. That's ridiculous.
That is exciting. Whew. That's what it's all about.
This should be illegal. It's so much fun. Woo.
At 8:15 on the first morning, we created ourselves a dilemma. We spotted a whitetail buck like you don't find in very many places. It's supposed to be a mule deer hunt, but with the option, and boy, did I find an option. This buck was a stud, and I was immediately focused on that deer. So from that point on, we would try to pattern this deer and watch for his weakness. And if we could find it, we were gonna take him. In the meantime, my guide Rob was just absolutely set on showing me a mule deer that I would shoot in the midday.
This week on the zone, we're going to one of my favorite places in the world to deer hunt, Wyoming. Now, James, you're a whitetail outfitter in Nebraska. When the tables are turned and you're the guided client, how is that for you?
Actually, it's pretty easy as long as I obey my own rule. Don't guide the guide. You know, I hate it when guys come to Nebraska and they tell me how to hunt my deer. So far be it from me to tell Rob how to hunt his. My biggest dilemma was going to be, am I shooting a whitetail? Am I shooting a mule deer? The neat thing that I like about western whitetails, and actually western deer in general, is the open country. If you can find a few trees, it's going to have more deer in it than you ever expected it would have. And if you find a hayfield, you're going to find deer bedded all over it, all hours of the day. It's going to be nonstop action. I mean, you're going to be in for the hunt of a lifetime. Action-packed, nonstop looking at deer. And this is the kind of country that you get to do it in.
I just love hunting in this country because there's so much game, just open country where you can really get a look at the game, and we have such a variety, from the antelope to the mule deer to the whitetail. These animals all living in the same place really makes for a lot of fun and a lot of action.
You know, Corey Fisher at Crandall Creek has taken our Magnum Hunt Club members on some fabulous hunts for elk, for bighorn sheep, in the bighorn area of Wyoming. You know, I was excited to come out and try a mule deer hunt with him, but I had no idea. This open country hunting is so much fun, so much different than we do in a lot of places. I mean, you take your good glass out there and you cover country, and that's what we did on the first day. We just cruised around and looked at different spots just to see what the inventory was. I mean, we would go from high spot to high spot. We'd be glassing down into creek bottoms. You know, we'd be glassing big open flats, looking at hay fields, just a number of different scenarios, all underneath the shadow of the Bighorn Mountains. Just an awesome, beautiful setting to be hunting deer in. It is just different than you get on most other types of hunts.
That's definitely one of the challenges here is the amount of animals.
It's a selection process. It's a selection process as much as a hunt. It's so much fun when you're just seeing game constantly. That is really
That's a great view right there.
a treat.
The Zone is brought to you by Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools. Thompson Center, Nikon, Blackhorn 209, DLC Covert Trail Cameras, Under Armour, Lethal Human Scent Elimination, and Bill Jordan's Realtree. Family, friends, and the outdoors.
With the deer bedding in the hayfields virtually all day long, we decided to go get along a wheel line and just crawl along until we had a good vantage of the whole hayfield and the creek bottom and just see what would come out that evening. That afternoon, the deer just started pouring out of that creek bottom, all coming right towards us in that hayfield. We were going to have about a 300-yard shot, and we were just looking at buck after buck after buck, mule deer, whitetail, both. And I knew this was going to be the day. We were going to connect sometime this evening.
375 to the closest one.
Oh, no kidding. That's not too bad. What kind of rangefinder are you using?
Nikon Monarch 1200.
Can I see it? I haven't seen that one yet.
I love it.
Sweet. Yeah, nice. Oh gosh, yeah. That thing's right on it. Boom, 416.
Yeah.
It's nice. Now the bucks were out there a ways and it was hot. I mean, that day it got up pushing 70 degrees. And there we were looking at deer 300 to 500 yards away. I mean, it was hard just to judge them with the heat waves radiating. Our wind's gonna start getting bad, isn't it? We're gonna be able to see them though. When we set up there, we had a nice quartering wind, so we didn't think anything in that field was going to smell us. But as the day came on, and those deer poured out more and more into the field, there was deer going into different spots, and eventually something caught us. And that whole herd jumped up and headed back to the creek. It was going to be one of those nights when everything cleared the woods into the field, too. We were going to see the old guys. Dang. Well, at least we got a plan B up our sleeve. Got another big whitetail we saw this morning, a couple miles up the creek. Got time to go see if we can catch him. So at this point, our afternoon hunt was shot, but boy, what a great hunt it was. But I was okay with that because that gave us time, just enough time to get back over to our little whitetail spot for the evening, see if we could connect on that big buck. Now, this whitetail buck was living in a really tough spot. We had cattle, we had stack yards, we had equipment coming in and out, there was horses running around in that area. I mean, he just really picked a spot that made it hard on us. Even though he was patternable, we just had so many other deer and so many other things going on, we had to be really careful. We decided we needed to see that deer before we could even consider a stalk. We certainly didn't want to get that deer off of his predictable pattern. I know we're mule deer hunting, but I don't pass up 150-inch deer, whitetails.
He's a good looking deer.
Yeah, he's a great looking whitetail. Well, our mule deer hunt just turned into a whitetail hunt.
Hard to pass.
I'm getting confused. Yeah, let's go see if we can make a play on him. We didn't have a lot of options here. It wasn't going to be a perfect type of a stalking situation. But boy, we used what we had. We had a big snow fence that we thought we could put between us and a big herd of deer that was out in the field. We had to maneuver our way through a bunch of cows and hope that they didn't spook too bad. I mean, we had a lot of things stacked against us. But I'll be darned if we didn't get exactly where we wanted to be. Pretty soon it looked like I was actually going to get a shot at this buck on the first evening of the hunt. I pulled off my spotting scope and put on my gun attachment for my BOG-POD and crawled into position. I had a bad problem. I had a bull in the pasture that really didn't like us being there, crawling in around his cows, and pretty soon he came over and was giving us a look, and he was slobbering, and I mean, he just really didn't want us there. Lo and behold, I had left my spotting scope back at the gate behind me, and I just knew he'd catch my scent and take his frustrations out on my spotting scope. Well, there was no way I was letting that bull stomp my ED50. Well, after I got my scope retrieved, I felt a whole lot better. Now all I needed is this buck to take about 10 more steps, jump the fence, and be in the hayfield in front of me. Problem is, he didn't read the script.
Came right to the fence, turned around and fed away. Didn't give us a clear shot. So we're gonna leave him alone. He doesn't know we're here yet. Come back tomorrow and try again.
All right, he's moving. Coming through the grass.
As soon as he stops. Oh, I think it's him. See him? Yes.
The next morning, we were sitting on our same hill where we would spy on this whitetail every day. We were pretty diligent about keeping tabs on that deer every morning, every evening. And on day 2, we really got a good bird's eye view of exactly what he was doing.
He looks as good in the morning light as the evening light. I know where he's trying to get. How can we get there? One thing about it, we will kill this deer tomorrow morning. He's so that patternable, and we can get over on that other side tomorrow and just know that we're only going to see 200 yards, but he's probably going to be in that 200 yards. Well, we're getting him patterned a little better. I mean, he's just got a tough spot that he's working through there for us. Good for him, bad for us. If we can't figure out a stalk on him here, and we might as well leave and see what else is still moving around this morning, huh?
Yeah, he's getting real predictable. We just are on the wrong side of him today.
Yeah, with the wind changing on us in the night, we're in a bad spot. If we could get around, but there's no time to get around.
Yeah, he's definitely consistent. I think we're in good shape for morning.
Yeah, leaving for tomorrow.
There was just no way to hunt that buck that morning. The wind was wrong, too many other deer around him, and by the time we spotted him, he was too close to his bedding area. We didn't want to get him off his pattern, didn't want to take a risk. So at this point, there was nothing we could do. Rob was happy though, because now he got a chance to go try to sell me on some mule deer. It had to be frustrating for Rob to crawl me in on all those mule deer, about every horn configuration you could expect on a muley, and he just couldn't get me to pull the trigger.
James, I don't want to brag on you too often, but I was sure glad to see you had your priorities straight on this big whitetail.
Well, we were hunting open country, early season, they're in their short range, they're patternable. As long as I didn't mess it up, eventually we were going to get our crack at that deer. And we were seeing lots of great muleys. But frankly, for me to turn my back on a 160-inch whitetail, it was going to take a 200-inch mule deer.
He's about to step out.
Okay. Oh, yep.
Closed captioning provided by BOG-POD, the sticks with the red grips. This portion of the zone is brought to you by the Magnum Hunt Club.
And on the way back over to hunt the whitetail again that evening, Rob got one more chance to show me a great big Wyoming muley and see if he couldn't just get me to pull the trigger. Still, I couldn't get that big whitetail out of my mind. This time we're going to try it from the other side of the stack yard. So we moved a little farther, crawling as close as we could get. Pretty soon we could see that buck. He was way back in the stack yard yet, couldn't see him very well from the tall grass, but if he did what he did the night before, now we were in position to take that deer. Now, of course, it's never that easy with whitetails. You think you got them figured out and then they do something different. And I can tell you that was in the front of my mind. I could see flashes of horn, I could see his body, but I had no shot. He was in his own world. Even though there were no other deer coming past that stack yard, that's exactly where he was going.
Okay, he's about 6 posts in. All right, he's moving. He's about to step out.
Oh, yep.
There he is.
As soon as he stops.
Okay, good shot, good shot. You hit him.
Sure.
All right, he's down.
Yes.
All right, good shot, man. Pretty awesome. Nice shot.
Perfect. I got him. I know you wanted me to wait for one of your muleys, but that was a great whitetail.
That's a great deal.
When I saw that guy, I kind of dialed in on him.
Yeah, that's a beautiful buck.
I really wanted to get in his zone.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah, it was.
on him.
Yes. Whew. That's awesome. That's just, oh, I love it. Open country spot and stock whitetails.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. You know, Corey Fisher at Crandall Creek has taken our Magnum Hunt Club members on some fabulous hunts. He told me it could end up being a whitetail hunt because he had some good ones, but I had no idea. Oh! No ground shrinkage at all. Come around here and get yourself a hand load of that Wyoming whitetail, open country.
What a buck.
Ain't that sweet?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, he's got it all. He's got good length, good beams, nice and wide, perfect symmetry. There's this little turned in spot. His beam comes in, this one goes out, and that's how we always knew we had him, because we've seen some other good bucks here. Look at those tines, look at that spread.
You have a link there.
I came out here to shoot a big muley. I just didn't expect to knock down a whitetail like this. Wow, that's great. Thanks, man.
Congratulations, good job.
Thanks.
James, I think of Wyoming as a place to go kill a good buck, but this definitely was not just a good buck.
It was a great buck. And you know, the state's known for its great mule deer, but that creates an issue. People show up, they're passing up the whitetails, letting them get big, old, gnarly, and if you can find an outfitter that's got some of those whitetails on their ranch, I mean, you can get a monster. But I have to admit, I really didn't know exactly what I had till I got home, called my good friend Keith Balford from the Boone Crockett Club.
Awesome, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
That's,
Good deer
that's,
for Wyoming.
Heck yeah, well, it's a good deer anywhere, but
When I looked at your trophy search on the Boone and Crockett site is when I realized that, boy, there just haven't been a lot of deer taken from that state like this.
no, you're right. I mean, this is a trophy anywhere. You know, the record book is really just a yardstick of gauging habitat health.
And that's what a lot of guys miss about the Boone and Crockett Club, how it is a gauge of habitats.
You see a 150 class whitetail, and that's the top end of what that county has to offer. Well, then, it's time to punch your ticket.
And your trophy search is a great tool for that, because you can boil it down to state, you can boil it down to county, and boy, when you're planning a hunt.
You can set the date range, you can look at historical trends, look at the past 10 years, past 25 years. James, congratulations again. That's a great deer. He's got, all the components for a good score. Did you happen to run a tape on him?
I did, actually. Show you what I came up with.
Gross is 156, and that's 151.
Kudos to Mickey and Corey Fisher for managing their property right to grow deer like that.
Habitat's the key.
The Zone is brought to you by Firefly, Hunt the Wind, Gobble and Grunt Outfitters, Brownells, OutfittersRating.com, Rax Mineral, and the Magnum Hunt Club. Your adventure is our business.